Okay, we're back with Jim Rooney, County Assessor here in Amador County. And Jim, when you were talking to that meeting with all the assessors, I believe you had an opportunity to address the who you were talking about, the Board of Equalization, about the lack of input from assessors on the fire fee, and it seemed like did most of the counties feel that like that, or was it mostly rural? Was it a rural and big city split?
It does affect every county in the state. However, I don't think San Francisco has one fire fee, obviously. They're a city and a county. Large counties like Alameda, they had 4,000 bills go out of 450,000 parcels. So it hardly touched them. The concern,
or like it doesn't touch a lot of constituents in their area. It touches,
no,
but
it doesn't.
So it's
a very small
doesn't
percentage.
affect a whole lot of us. So why be concerned?
The problem the assessors had with this was there's all this literature put out about the fire fee, how they're going to be charged. Never were the assessors contacted saying, "Hey, by the way, we're using your data. We're going to manipulate your data to determine who to send these fees to." And I told the Board of Equalization, you have no obligation to tell us that you're going to use our data because it's public information. But you really should, because when taxpayers come into our office and they'll say, we got a problem, we got this fire tax fee, it is not our responsibility. We could tell them, hey, we have nothing to do with that, go somewhere else. But, we're not going to do that. We're going to say, look, if there's any way we can help you, we will. And every assessor in the state, I'd say, would have that same attitude. We will help the taxpayer when we can. And the State Board of Equalization should have come to us, or CAL FIRE, and said, by the way, we're going to use your data, so be ready for people to come in and say, hey, our data isn't particularly correct. And nobody ever gave us any consultation at all on that.
Okay.
And can I tell you, I had somebody call me yesterday and say, they got a fire tax fee. They have a 50-acre parcel with no house on it. And I looked at it and I said, well, they used our data, and the data that they had was incorrect. This guy got a fire tax fee. He shouldn't have gotten it. So I'm going to write him a letter.
So is it in that particular instance, are you saying that that they weren't using your data?
No, they were using it, but they used it incorrectly. They thought there was a house there. There's not a house there. I can kind of see where they maybe thought there was a house there.
Okay.
But our information that we have, that is not for the collection of fire tax fees. That is for the assessment of property taxes. But they tried to manipulate it into a way that they could use it. And it doesn't work all the time right.
Okay. Well, Howard Jarvis is now involved with a couple, I believe. I don't know their names offhand, but there's an active suit now. So
Sure.
The suit is going through the courts now.
Yeah.
What do you know about that? Can you give us any update?
Well, I actually called down to the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, and I spoke with a guy, John Kupal.
Okay.
You've had him here.
Yeah, I know John.
He's real good. And I asked him, I said, are you guys going to file a suit on this? And his response was, as soon as humanly possible. But unfortunately, somebody has to be, how do they say, injured, harmed by this
to get
fire fee. Yeah. So they had to wait until somebody got it, and heck, they could have come to Amador County and gotten that information. So anyway, he told me they're going to file it, and my understanding is that it'll be heard, it'll be decided upon, then it'll be appealed. This could be a long process, so it may be a while. And what I find so unfortunate about this is so many people, especially in this county, will mail in the money. The state will have it. They may even have another years that they have to mail in the money. The state will have it. The
state will do again as soon as the year turns.
Yeah, and they might even raise the fees. So then they're going to have all this money. I think this thing's going to be overturned. The state is going to have to refund this money. So the state will refund all the money they got, but they will have these administration fees that they had to spend a lot of money to collect these fees. They'll have to give the money back. People in Amador County, Alameda County, Butte County, Alpine, and the counties at the first part of the alphabet, they're going to be the ones who essentially lent the state money for about 2 years. I don't think the state's going to pay back the money with interest. I would just about bet on it. I think people will get their money back, but it'll be an interest-free 2 or 3 year loan, which I find frustrating and maddening, especially since when they refund all the money, they're going to have to pay people to. It's going to cost money to refund the money. Oh gosh, huge boondoggle. Frustrating. So anyway.
So it'll still take as long as that, even though it would seem to me that maybe it could be done quicker, since basically the fight is that it was a tax, but it's hidden as a fee, or it's a
they're calling it a fee, but if it was a tax, they could have gone by way of a tax had they got a 2/3 majority vote. They weren't expecting to get that. I don't think they would have. So they called it a fee. They tried to get around it. And I think it's going to cost them a lot of money by trying to have gotten around it. So,
okay, let's go back to property taxes. Everybody's always concerned about their property, its value, moving up and down. We're hearing a lot of some reports, nationally, reports of areas that are saying that housing prices have gone up, and I believe the last probably month or two, like one has one at a 3.6%, another has, you could read that as a 4.1%.
Sure.
You think housing prices are back up? You think we're dragging along the bottom, or we're starting to climb out?
It's interesting. I think they're probably stabilized and maybe increasing a little bit. And I think they are increasing in the state of California. But they're increasing in the Bay Area, the coastal counties. And there is a lag time of value change between the counties in the east part of the state and the west part of the state. We do seem to lag behind. I think it's a good indicator that maybe things are going up. The people's property tax bills that people have right now that are due, those are based on the values of their property as of January 1st, 2011. So they're already set. Even though real estate values are going up, there's going to be no immediate increase in people's property tax bills. It may be reflected in next year's property tax bills, which will be based on January 1st of 2013. But that's not very far away. That's about a month away right now. So things maybe have gone up a little bit. I'd like to think things have more stabilized, but in different parts of the county. I had somebody send me an email just yesterday. Their property value went down about $100,000. Of course, they had a $700,000 home, but a $100,000 reduction is $1,000 less than their property tax bill. So we're seeing things, I think, stabilize. But even as the state is different parts of the state is higher or lower. Amador County has areas that have gone down faster and stayed more stable. Sutter Creek has probably been a very stable area. Shenandoah Valley. Comanche has gone down substantially. Ione. Well, Ione's an interesting story. Ione took a big hit. I don't know if you've been down to Ione lately, but I'll bet in the past year there's been somewhere between 200 and 300 new homes under construction to be built. And those will be assessments that will go from about $25,000 assessments up to $225,000 to $250,000. This could show a substantial increase for Ione, and I think it will, and good for them. These houses seem to be selling too, and they're selling at what appear to be a good value. So Ione was very hard hit by this real estate crisis.
Right. I think the economy was double hit with the, prisons closing down. Preston.
By the way, those new houses in Ione, I asked when Castle Oaks first started 15 years ago. Almost everybody was from out of the East Bay area. They were from Concord, Antioch, San Jose, from those areas. I asked the guy who's the head salesman there, I said, are most of the people from out of the area? And he says, most of the people buying those homes are from in the area. They're in Amador County or maybe El Dorado County nearby. So it's interesting.
I think there's a lot of people that move upcountry and after a winter or two like the county but can't handle the snow and would like to get also closer to hospitals and things like that.
You're right,
services.
Especially about the health services.
And Ione is in a nice location for that.
Yeah, Ione's doing good. Over the past few years, it's changed quite a bit. The golf course has helped that out an awful lot. So, doing well.
Okay, and How about, let's ask about the gold mine, Sutter Gold Mine. Are they on the tax rolls now?
You know, they are. Yeah, they're partially on the tax roll. They're getting prepared to go. They're doing a lot of new construction out there. They have a lot of projections about how they're going to do well, and we are going to look at their projections and we're going to assess them as they're supposed to be assessed. They seem to have high hopes out there, and to tell you the truth, I wish them the best. I hope they do well. If they do well, their investors will do well, the local community will do well. They're hiring a lot of people. Those people will do well. And you know, the county will do well too. We have to assess them, and it could be a pretty substantial assessment, but we're not out there to get a big assessment out of there. We're out there to make sure we get the correct assessment out of there. We wouldn't, you know, that scares me. They could have a pretty healthy assessment out there, but we want to make sure that it is fair, something that they would understand, that it is fair to them to pay, because they're hiring a lot of people and they're buying a lot of local things. And if by chance our assessment was too high, it could make them unhealthy financially and could hurt the people who work for them and the local businesses who deal with them. So we're going to be assessing them. And I just want to get it correct.
We just have maybe 30 seconds. Would you
Sure.
have to look outside of the area and stuff like that in order to be able to assess them? I guess what I'm saying is we don't have a whole lot of mines. We don't have a lot of ways to come up with that.
I depend on some other county assessors to give us information on, and we'll be looking at the prices of their product, of gold, how much it costs them to do it. So we'll be looking at things from out of the area. Yeah.
Okay, Jim, we've got to run, take a break. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for watching News in Depth. There's more news on the other side of the break right here on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.